Hey everyone, it's Byron again. I'm here to testify for Jesus Christ. I want to take a little time here to talk directly to some dreams that I've had, which the Lord explained to me through the dream, some definitions or some ways to help me expand on my understanding of the Bible. Under a broad topic, we're going to talk about fornication. And I'm going to use the word fornication. You see it in Revelation chapter 2. I think it's verse 19. Let me make sure. Verse 20. And the scripture is talking about a Jezebel. Let me just read the whole verse. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, talking about the church of Thyatira, because thou sufferest, and because you tolerate that woman Jezebel, and I've learned that that's Freemasonry over time, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. So I'm just going to grab fornication right there. The Greek word, it's a Strong's word, G4203. And you would say it pornuo, something like that. Anyway, the definition, to act the harlot. That is literally to indulge in unlawful lust. So if you take it from a literal perspective, it's unlawful lust. But it can be either literal or figurative. And to be figurative, it would be to practice idolatry. And we take that word idolatry, just slim it down to idol. Go to Ezekiel 14, and you'll find a phrase called idols of the heart. So within yourself, within your own being, you can have things that are what are considered biblically as idols of the heart. So it doesn't have to be something in your backyard, a shrine, or anything like that. You can have something that's going on within yourself, an idol. Let's just say it's covetousness. So covetousness, the Bible tells us, is idolatry, and various other things. Okay, so having kind of explained briefly about fornication, you realize there is a literal and figurative, and there's, you could also say, a physical and a spiritual form of idolatry. And that's the one thing that you would find under fornication. Now, to kind of pause there, that introduction, definition, terms, or whatever, I just want to say one time that I had a dream, and the dream was that my grandfather was giving me a ministry. Now, my grandfather lived, I don't know if you ever heard of the phrase out in the sticks, but he didn't live in the woods. He lived out in a farm that had plenty of land that wasn't woods, but he lived in the corner of two counties, right on the edge of two counties. He lived in what's called Lauderdale County, Alabama, real close to the line with Limestone County, and each of those were fairly good distance away from any type of populated city, definitely away from the county seats or the capitals or whatever you call the counties. In his day, he saw electricity come to the Tennessee Valley, which that's where we lived, the Tennessee Valley. He saw the automobile come. He saw many technological revolution or the industrial revolution start making things happen around him. And that includes what I call lines of communication, or your contact with the outside world or things of the world, etc. And that included a television and a radio eventually. However, my grandfather was very unique in that while I was at my house in my home in Decatur, Alabama, listening to all kinds of stuff on TV and all kinds of stuff on the radio, my grandfather would only listen to a few things. He would listen to the news. There was a man named Grady Reeves who broadcast the weather or news out of Huntsville, Alabama. And he would, at 10 o'clock every day, he would click on to The Price is Right, or turn on to The Price is Right. If you were to go to his house and no one else was there watching television themselves, his television would not only be off, but it would be unplugged from the wall, just in case some type of electrical interference caused something to harm his television. He was the same way about a radio he had. He had one of those stand-up radios, big broadband type things that got many different kind of things. You could hear things from around the world on it. he would unplug that, except for one show that came on every day. It was called Sick Call, and it would notify people of people who were sick. So other than that, through media, that is the only contact that my grandfather had with the outside world. Approximately less than 2 hours a day. One was The Price is Right, which I think took up an hour, minus commercials, which is less than an hour. The news, and then this show called Sick Call. If you compare that with today and the amount of influence we have from our gadgets, it is an astronomical difference. My grandfather was not affected by the outside world. And many times during the course of a day, while I was there, I'd see him grab his Bible, sit down and read it. He'd sit in the chair by himself, put his glasses on, and just read the Bible. So the dream show that my grandfather gave me down in ministry, at the time that I had the dream, I didn't fully understand. Now I do. Okay. A couple separate dreams that the Lord's given me, and he's shown me this is fornication. In one, he showed me that the television series, which was hugely popular when I was a young kid, it was called Gunsmoke. Starred a guy named James Arnaz, another guy named something, it ended up being Festus, a guy named Doc, and this saloon lady, Miss Kitty. That show was a huge deal when I was a kid growing up, and something that I would watch, my father would watch, etc. But one time I had a dream, and in the dream I was watching Gunsmoke, and the Lord spoke in the dream and said fornication, which led me to believe that it's probably not only Gunsmoke but many other things. And then also another dream, I had a dream where a man had bought a boat, and I don't normally say boat like I just did, but anyway, he had bought a boat, and he was having trouble paying his bills because of the boat. And I knew within the dream we were looking at something called an idol of the heart, a lust, a covetousness, something that was causing the man to get his life out of balance, to have his pleasure. Now, I'm not trying to say in and of themselves anything is wrong. However, if you take Christianity and you read the Bible, and if you can find in the Bible somewhere that tells you to come up with being a part of things of the world on television, I'll pay you. It's just a matter of, this is how the facts are. In today's world, in today's churches, in today's manner of going about life, you do not see good examples of Christian ways today. What you see, like for example, I'll just tell you real quick, I went to a church called Westmead Baptist Church in Decatur, Alabama. At the time that I went to the church, we never heard a caution about, hey man, just be careful, listen to that music, don't listen to that music. That music's going to impact you. It's going to change your life. And I've learned that now it does what's called make you drunk. You are influenced by the music. Number one, the music gets you and you get a little tune, and then it's telling you things within the song that are not good, like, oh, I just love you, baby, and this, and then you end up, being influenced or altered or drunken by these kind of things to the point where you have desires that are exaggerated and not consistent with biblical teaching. You can talk Charlie Daniels. Charlie Daniels said in a song one time, "I will take another toke," referencing marijuana, an illegal substance. Willie Nelson, same way. You can go. This guy named Rick James, "Give it to me, baby. Let me have sex with you." And when you hear that stuff over and over and over as a young person, let me just describe my way. After you are a part of something for so long, you believe that's real life. You believe this is how the world is. So you begin to live your life as if that's how it is. And unfortunately, many people, similar to myself, grew up in church, were led astray by the things the church did not teach us on or encouraged us to do, and then we were influenced to the point we partook, and bam. I was thinking this morning, here's a good example. Freemasonry is in the church. I mentioned to you here, Revelation chapter 2, the Jezebel is Freemasonry. in there, the verse I already read, talks about Freemasonry causing people to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. And both of those, commit fornication and eat things sacrificed unto idols, you can say or have a literal side and a figurative side. So Freemasonry introduced or created the fraternal system within the United States. So if you go to a college and you have a fraternity, you're going to find in the history or still attached to it, Freemasonry. Same thing with the sororities. Now, in the church that I grew up in, Westmead Baptist Church, we didn't have fraternities in high school, but there was a huge presence of sororities. And also within the church, there was a huge presence of sororities. So you would have these songs playing on the radio, talking, oh, I just want to get with you and just do these things to you, and this kind of songs. And, it was all green light according to church people. Nobody was saying, ooh, gosh, maybe we got to get away from this. So as a young kid, you were influenced not only by the music and the songs, but the adults who didn't take the stand and didn't do their job and raise you right. So that was going on. And then you would you'd go to church, you'd sit down, and here's all these, in-crowd type sorority types who spent their whole week getting their bodies just perfectly tanned and all that stuff. And throughout the week, you get to see them in their bikinis and showing their cleavage and all this stuff. And then you're sitting beside them in church and you think, well, this is just life. You don't know the difference, And then they invite you to a dance. You go to the dance, and then, that happened. That happened. The world was made drunk by Mystery Babylon's fornication. And I'm talking truth here, man. So you are raised, and then you raise kids, and then it just passes on down the lines, and the things continue to deteriorate to the point to where evil, and when I say evil, I'm talking about a biblical evil style where some evil is, from a biblical perspective, is way worse than we think evil. I mean, meaning it doesn't take a lot for Paul to call something evil. He said, evil men shall wax worse and worse, seducing and causing whatever. But basically he was just, deceiving and being deceived. He said people that are deceived and being deceived are evil. That's what Paul called them. So anyway, from a biblical perspective. So what you have is you have a Bible, which you cannot find any evidence to that it encourages the things that I'm discouraging in this video. But then you have Christians who have the Bible, who have their church, who have all these different things, participating in those things and wondering what in the world is wrong with Byron. How did he ever get so weird? That's how we have it in today's world. And I know it's difficult to balance this stuff because it's been difficult for me to balance this stuff. But the times that I have walked with God, the times that I have felt close to the Lord in the Spirit, and the Lord has revealed things to me in communicative ways, those are the times where I was in my Bible, had my nose in my Bible. I wasn't paying attention to I was trying to recover from the damages the world had done to me. And one of those things that's I really consider essential in that is to have a broken and contrite heart, because the Lord is respectful, or he draws near to people of a broken and contrite heart. So I was talking with my wife yesterday. I was telling her, the things that I say don't sound like your norm in Christianity, although every time I examine myself, it's truth by the Bible. And that's the way this one is. So I'm going to leave this one here, a little talking about fornication, a little talking about literal, which I didn't do much talking about the literal fornication, but the spiritual or the figurative fornication. Man, it's out there. It's out there. You can do everything in the world you think is right, plus add these types of fornication intermingling with certain things within the world, and you are going to be less powerful as a Christian. It's just going to happen. So anyway, I'm going to let that go, lay it down, and hopefully that will meet some. I know beyond any shadow of a doubt, I will not reach a large audience. But there's some people out there wanting to come closer to the Lord. You're also wanting to make a difference in this world, and you're going to be used by God, but you're not going to be used by God being like most other Christians. You're going to have to be like the Christians the Bible spoke of. So anyway, I'll let you go.